Closer to home, holiday plans were thrown into turmoil because of floods and rain. Lara Wilde travels about 90,000 kilometres on Australian roads every year for her job. She helps to settle families into regional and remote communities. She's also got some good advice for other motorists and shares some of her adventures with us. So what's the longest that you've ever been stuck beside the road?
4 days.
And where was that? Tell us about that.
That was just up beside Springsure in central Queensland, and it was absolutely beautiful. We didn't want to leave at the end of it because we were right near the Virgin Mary Rock, and so there was waterfalls cascading down the mountain, and what had happened, the bridge had actually been washed out. And it's very important if you're in a situation like that, don't go walking across the bridge and trying to see if the bridge is still there. Don't go exploring under the floodwater by yourself. We would see people in waist deep water, and they'd be walking out across these bridges. There's often snakes and other sorts of wildlife that have been washed down in the floodwaters. You'll also find that there's lots of branches. There could be logs under the water that are rushing through at a great rate, which will break your legs and knock you out into the water. Also, that whole road can disappear quite quickly, and you won't even know that it's not there until you step into the hole, and you're then a statistics.
So when do you make the decision to leave? Is it when the trucks start to go?
I like to be in contact with truckies. They're very useful, and I have a two-way radio in the car for that purpose. They're always on channel 40, and they're very helpful as a rule. So I'll use them. I'll also use the police, and you've got lots of SES and different services in the region. So you can often ring ahead, ask what the state of the road is. Are they expecting it? Because remember, floodwaters can change the road quite quickly. So while it might be fine now, 500 kilometres away by the time you get there, it can be washed out. So it's good to ring ahead first, make sure that you've got the road conditions and what they're expecting to happen, but also you can find out, is it clear to go through now, or should you wait until they've actually fixed the road up?
What sort of safety precautions do you take before you head off?
One of the ones that I did, and I've done it since I first started driving, my mother trained me well, is before I leave on any journey, I'll ring someone who I know is going to be near their phone. And I'll say, I'm leaving now, I'm taking this road, and I expect to arrive at this time. If I haven't arrived within a sort of couple of hours of that and rung them to say, yes, I've arrived safely, then send out a search party and come looking for me. It's very important that you keep in communication, because you can, if people aren't expecting to see you for 12 hours, it's very easy to drop off.
I know that the police and the SES don't want people to drive through floodwaters, but there comes a point where you have to get a move and it looks like it's safe. So what do you recommend?
So quite often you will see water across the road, and it could be an inch deep or it could be a foot deep. Now, what I like to do is always watch someone else go first. So I'll often have a talk to the truckies. It could be either on the two-way, or if we're all pulled up at the floodwaters, get out and have a chat to people and find out if you can follow them. I always think it's a good thing to keep your motor revving faster than you need to be, and you want to keep the water going. If you stop in floodwater, that's when the water will come in behind, go up your exhaust, and that's the end of your motor. So it's very important to keep the momentum going when you're going through floodwaters, and just pick a pace that you know is steady, that you can control, and keep that momentum moving along. But the other tip is, if you can talk to the truckies and be in communication with them, and again, this is where a two-way radio can come in really handy, you can ask to sit in their wake. So when the truck goes through the floodwaters, it will actually create a wake, and if you're in communication with the truck driver and you know he's not going to stop in a hurry, you can get quite close, sit in that wake, and that will actually protect your engine because it's in a drier part directly behind the truck. But that's something you really need to be talking to the truck drivers about before you go and take that liberty with them. But the best idea is make sure someone else is in front of you has gone through first, so that you know that the road is clear and that you can go through with that. But it also means someone else on the road can tow you out if you do get stuck.